So 15 runs in 2 innings is just good coaching, right?
Yeah, right. I think the only contribution I had to that is good karma. I wore Jarrell Ortega's hoodie that's kind of attached to whatever he's got going. It's actually attached to a charitable cause. So it's the first time I wore it. I probably need to wear it again tomorrow or any day he's in the lineup. But no, I think some tension was kind of relieved there, kind of taken off the cap a little bit from the middle innings. And then early in the game it was just kind of awkward with how everything went down. Obviously, I don't know that it was the right thing to say, but told Coach Thompson, I hope his two guys are fine. I mean, boy, do you want to beat the Friday starter on the other team, but you don't want it to kind of go down like that. And then it kind of slipped into a deal where we just had a lull for whatever reason. I mean, a couple guys squared some balls up, but the cap needed to come off, and it came off kind of in extreme fashion there.
How impressive was that at bat from Jarrell to take the first pitch after that long delay deep?
Yeah, I don't really know how to quantify it other than John kind of brought it up on the radio, and Jarrell, if you know him, is kind of what you want a baseball player to be. The actual action in a game is what, like 18 or 20 minutes? Someone's done the math before. There's a lot of downtime, and he's got the ability to kind of switch back and forth of being real relaxed and kind of having fun and bouncing around to the point where it drives you crazy. I mean, Frank's always talking about him talking to umpires and stuff like that in between pitches. But then when the pitch is in play, he's locked in. And I think part of it is his passion for baseball allows him to lock in. But also he's a fun-loving kid, so it allows him to relax. And that was the most extreme version of having to hang out, and then it's time to play ball. And he executed, again, in pretty extreme fashion there.
Evan talked about kind of the shift in momentum whenever the crowd gets into it there. Any little blip. What's it like in the dugout, just the feeling that comes over you guys whenever you can feel the crowd get into it and just kind of that change?
No, it's loud. It's loud in the dugout as far as audio goes. And then inside, your feeling or your vibe, if you want to call it that, you feel like there's a tidal wave or an avalanche, and you're on the good side of it. Again, that just because they're excited, it doesn't guarantee we're going to have success. But if you look at the track record, they've helped us. They just flat out have. And, the one caveat is they're all here. They're having a good time. You see guys act. We have very active fans, which I'm appreciative, but you also got to do something. And they get excited when Drew hammers a ball like he did to center field, but it doesn't fall for him. So you got to find a way to piece things together. And in the middle of all that excitement was Simo just having his nose on a ball just enough. Seth Stevenson taking 2 big hacks and then shortening up with 2 strikes and just putting the ball in play. I believe there was a big walk either right before that or after that as well. So the dominoes fell after, there were some grinder moments in the trenches, if you want to say it that way.
Tony, in baseball, you're liable to see something you've never seen before any given day. Where does 15 runs in 19 at-bats kind of rank in some of the unbelievable things you've seen?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that. I mean, for whatever reason, when I was at Arkansas with Mr. Bonfield on that staff, that we put together a couple days in a row that were similar, and I was like, I wish we could bottle this up. You could just feel it. And again, another place when you're on the road, or at that time it was at home, the crowd gets behind you and it kind of seems to be an avalanche. So I'm all for guys building confidence from today, but yeah, you pointed it out. That's a pretty unique deal that went on, and the odds of replicating it aren't great. But again, if you take confidence from tonight and have some more of those scratch and claw at bats, then you're likely to have success.
What did you see from Chase battling through that bases?
That was insane. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That was insane. I mean, I got to go through my text messages, but the 05 team had a bunch of stuff in there. And I wonder if Hoach had a moment like that at some point, Luke Hochaver, in his career, or other guys that have pitched here. I mean, that was insane. Obviously, he kind of created his own mess to an extent, but to work out of it is one thing. To do it in the fashion he did is another, and then to do it against those hitters, that was nuts. And in the end, that could have been a big old mess, and it was probably the game. And really, if you look at it, Monday morning quarterback style, should have stuck to the original plan. After he did that, it was like, man, if he can just get us 5, then let's hand the baton off. And for whatever reason, didn't go with the gut there, and regret it. But he still walked off the mound with confidence and something to build off of, because the fact that he did that, it's a moment of growing up, and that should stick with him the rest of the year.
So what do you expect to sort of see as a coach? When does that switch kind of flip of Man, that was a fun one tonight, but that's a pretty good team on the other side, and they just wore one, and they're not going to be happy tomorrow.
Yeah, part of it is dictated by the league. When do you play? Sometimes you get a quirky, noon game. You love being on the big network, but sometimes there's TV. So, we play at 7 tomorrow. There's a little bit of leeway, but to be honest with you, the game was in hand there at the end. All the fireworks took place on the field, and then they took place off the field. So it's just time for our guys to get ready. And you could see, like I was kind of alluding to, maybe our guys keep it rolling in the next day, or maybe like you said, Auburn throws their best punch at us, or maybe both. You really don't know, but the one thing you do know is it's going to be an SEC game tomorrow. We're playing a really scrappy team no matter what happened the day before. And I think our guys, like to compete as well. So if you got a ticket, you're in the right spot tomorrow.
Y'all have 100 homers to 42 games. How special of a stat is that, and how unique is it to have power 1 through 9 and then maybe 10, 11, 12?
Yeah.
Well?
No, Blake, that was key for us. He's a smart kid. Jared Dickey's not available this weekend. So it's not that easy to just get up there and do what he did, but you got to be smelling, that there's something available there, and we need him down the stretch, and if he's going to swing like he did in those 2 at-bats, we'll take it. So he is one of several guys that can come off the bench for us and do it, but as you alluded to, our 9, you could flip it, and Cordy grinds his way on base, but also has some strength to it, and then everybody else could fit in the middle. So I think we're blessed to have the options that we do, and I guess we'll let the guys, the pro ball guys, Mr. Kivett and Coach Elander, were talented enough to play pro ball where you count up stats. I was a scrub just looking to win games. So at the end of the year, we'll tally them up and maybe hand out some ribbons.
Coach, obviously Evan had a big night tonight. He got the 100th homer of the season for you guys. What's it like for him, special to be on a team like this in his last season?
Yeah, no, that's fitting. I didn't mean to be too smart, Alec, about the stat thing, but that's fitting that kid hits, that one in particular, just because of who he is and how he competes and what he's done for us this year, kind of converting into that position. So that's neat that it's a historic moment like that. He needs to get his hands on that baseball in particular, but he epitomizes what we got going on. If someone asks, who's the alpha dog, or the guys on I think it was Chris Burke was asking, who's kind of the leader, because Drew Gilbert was up to bat. And in some categories, Drew Gilbert is the guy. In some other categories, it's Evan. In some others, it's Trey Lipscomb. And then we got our older guys like Luke and Redmond. So there's some guys that epitomize what we got going on in certain areas, but Russell's got a lot of them.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.